Hola, y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to have from your drama, or maybe have from your baby mama. Just kidding. But anyways, fans, thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Choo choo. And guess what, y'all? I finally reached out my new book, Shabbat in Chicago. It's on Amazon. Real quick, is about a mom, a single mom who basically adopted 5 kids and who embraces her Latino culture while being Jewish. So please check it out. And today we have a very special guest. I had to bring him, who is a successful businessman, such as the financial advisor of The Drop and financial advisor for Small Business Revolution. Give it up for the one and only Morris Jackson. Woo!
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Happy to be on. Just excited to be a guest and looking forward to today.
Of course, man. You know what? I have to share this so my audience get to know us a little bit more. So I actually met you this past week, and it was really nice. It was a big event. You know, me and Chef Vic, we were cooking, breaking it down, and there was a moment I almost slipped on the floor. You know what I'm saying? I almost slipped. My boy Morris comes to the rescue, about to catch me, and I was sweating. My palms were heavy, you know, my spaghetti. Like I thought I lost my life at this moment. I got scared. And Morris like, "You good? You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, thank you, man." I didn't get a chance to say my last prayer, but I'm glad you came to save the day.
Oh, no, I didn't really. I mean, one, I would have saved your life anyway because it's just the right thing to do, being a God-fearing man. But I didn't realize it was going to land me on a talk show. So I'm actually blessed the fact that I was there.
Oh man, that's true. That's true, brother. It was a great time. I love that I got to network with different people. And if you want to share a little bit about the event that you put together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yes. So, I've been fortunate enough over the years to start several businesses, and this particular business that we started as with me and 3 other partners called Reflection Advisors. We put on a chef experience event for some of our ultra high net worth clients who we wanted to give a little bit more, not only about what we do as a firm, but also sharing with them a new fund that we put together in 2023 that's going to take $30 million and deploy it out to strategic initiatives in the community and to small business owners. So that event was to not only bring people together to, like I said, to provide them with an amazing experience like no other. When you're in Vegas, you got to do it right, right? You just can't go to a normal restaurant. You can't just serve normal food. You can't have just a normal venue. You have to take things that are on a scale of 1 to 10 and turn it to 100. So we were in one of my short-term rentals that I have here in Las Vegas, which is a 8,000 square foot palace. I invited Chef Vic, which gave me a great opportunity to meet you. Me and Chef Vic was wrapping it up about what would be the best thing to do for a clientele base like this, who we are and what we're about and what we had a great turnout. I mean, we were only expecting 25 people, but as you saw there that night, I mean, we had well over 35 people in attendance, which was better than expected. Thank God, Chef, and you guys prepared enough food for us, or I would have had no food in my belly that night. But again, it was a great night. The great thing about that night too, which was magical, is that with you and Chef Vic and everyone who was there, it was really effortless on our part. As a team. I mean, conversations were natural. The food led to even more amazing conversations. The way Chef designed the menu really allowed us to have just free flowing interactions and conversations. And then when we got to the main dish, right, it gave us a chance to speak to everyone's heart because we entered through their belly first. So I always was told the way to a person's heart is through the stomach, and you and Chef Vic absolutely did that for us. But again, amazing night, amazing experience, and our goal is to hopefully do one of those once a quarter, and bring the most influential people, highly affluent individuals, who are looking for strategic investments and looking for strategies in order to make a difference in our world. So hopefully there'll be more to come in the future, and I expect to see you there.
Oh, I'm there. You let me know. I'll show up. I might make a U-turn, and then I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? Oh man.
Absolutely.
But look, I wanna say real quick, thank you again. And you have a really great family. I love the energy. And if we can know a little bit more about you, if you were born and raised Vegas, tell us a little bit and how you basically got into business. Like what made you follow that passion?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I was born in Peoria, Illinois. So it was great to hear, Yaakov, you're from Chicago. So us Midwesterners are in the house, right? And so born in Peoria, I was influenced to become an entrepreneur at a very young age by my grandfather. He was the first black black entrepreneur in Peoria. He owned a carpet cleaning business in Peoria, Illinois, called Louis Owens Carpet Cleaning Business. And so when I was a little child, my grandfather used to always keep me near him, and just watching him, navigate his small business, navigate his way with financial institutions, and navigate his way, through connecting with the community. I was always impressed by him at a young age. Really believe, and it truly deep down is by far my idol. I wouldn't have my business acumen and my ability to connect with people if it wasn't for my grandfather. When I was about 8 years old, we ended up moving to San Diego. Was raised in San Diego up until I was about 19. Went to San Diego State for 1 year, played college football. I quickly realized after 3 months, football wasn't for me. So I got a job at the bank. They made me a merchant teller right out of high school. And then from there, after being a merchant teller for about 6 months, they made me a personal banker. Once they gave me the job as a personal banker, I ended up stopped going to school. I stopped playing football, and I worked in the financial services industry full time at that particular time. And then from there, went from a banker all the way to a branch manager, then to a district manager. I was the youngest minority district manager in Las Vegas back in 1997. Um, I was responsible for overseeing 13 locations here in Las Vegas at that time. From a district manager, I covered literally every single sector of Las Vegas over my 10-year history as a DM. And then from a district manager, I transitioned over to an area president. That's when I moved to Florida. And so I covered all the northern cities in Florida, from Jacksonville all the way down to Pensacola. That was called the Panhandle. So I ran that location, had over 400 branches, with over 2,000 employees. Enjoyed that opportunity, enjoyed that journey. And then obviously after 2008, you started to see contraction in the banking industry. I knew at that time, I went back to school. I got my bachelor's degree. I got a dual master's. I even got certified with Pacific Coast Banking School to run my own bank. But then I realized in order for me to continue to climb the ladder in banking and to make it to a senior vice president position, I had to learn what they call business banking. So I transitioned over to business banking, did that for about 7 months. I quickly realized there wasn't much difference between consumer banking and business banking. And then I got a call from a bank here locally, a regional bank here locally, to run the state of Nevada. And so then I covered the entire state of Nevada plus two cities in Arizona. I did that for about 2 years. That's when I joined the television show Small Business Revolution. Did that for 8 episodes. From there, after the pandemic hit and going through another contraction, where I was put in a very difficult position where I had to lay off team members during one of our most tumultuous times. Looking a team member in their eye and letting them know that we're going to reduce our employment base, and their spouses are not having careers at this time because of what's happening during the pandemic. It just tore my heart. What tore my heart even more was when I wanted to meet with these team members face to face, through protected barriers and things of that nature. But we were told we had to do it over a conference call, which to me, again, it's not how you treat people. One, we shouldn't be firing people during the worst times of in our history, but then two, not being able to do it with a sense of civility and a sense of care and compassion, to me, just was inhumane. So I just realized it was time for me to leave corporate. That's when I started to kind of channel my grandfather in me and said, no, it's time for you to open your own business. And from there, I opened up a business, which was a e-commerce marketplace for streetwear brands. We did that, helped young entrepreneurs, specifically of a minority culture, promote their brand across the United States. A lot of times minority brand owners are only targeting their geographical areas. We wanted to bring them a platform where their brands could be targeted across the United States. And so that's where we formed a company called thedrop.com. We did that. After doing the drop, I started another business called Legacy Leaders, another business called Reflection Advisors, another business called TrackWest Ventures. I did another business today called Valhallan, which is an esports training center. So that one decision kind of spun off. Now today, I currently own and operate 7 different businesses for myself. So now I've become, over the last 3 years, I've become this crazed entrepreneur, because the great thing is, whatever you believe in and whatever your passion is, you can go after it. And so I just had this great tenacity over the last 3 years. Like I said, I'm channeling my grandfather. I'm taking everything he taught me at a young age and putting into place now, leaving corporate. I'm really looking to build my own legacy, for not for me, but for my kids and for others who aspire to be entrepreneurs as well.
Wow, that's amazing. Just to hear the part where you're bringing out with everything your grandfather did, like that spark that really you put that fire on. I could see it, and just to see you
Yeah.
went through a lot. You went through different trials in life, but at the same time, it made you a stronger person, a more brought you that leadership skills that you needed, through time and working. And now you've been able to build like this empire, which is amazing. Like I think what you said that stood out too was the legacy to put to your kids. I think that's nice because our kids are the future. They're the ones that look up to us. They're the ones that see everything what's going on. So if you provide that path, they're going to continue to do it, as long as you show them the ropes. And that's what we always want. We want our kids to be better than what we do, right? In this world right now, we want them.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's great.
Yep.
I love
No,
that.
you're spot on with that. I got to tell you, when my boys, I have 2 boys. One today, my oldest is 24, about to be 25, and my youngest is 19. And that's when, while they were younger, I wanted to give them a life better than what I had, right? It's about, how do you create opportunities and open new doors for them, and provide them with an infrastructure that's different than what I had, right? I had an amazing grandfather, but I didn't have an amazing father, unfortunately. But luckily, my grandfather was in my life from a distance. But in that case, it was my duty as their father to do what was right for them. That's why for 26 years, I stayed in corporate banking, because it allowed me to provide them with an infrastructure and a life that was better than what I ever had. But the moment my youngest went to college, that's when my wife turned to me and said, okay, now it's time to focus on you. Now it's time to start your own business. So luckily, again, I'm very blessed with having a wife who we've been together since we were our senior year in high school. We have two amazing kids who are, just tremendously supportive of what her and I do. So it was great for her to look at me when my youngest graduated from high school and went to college and say, it's time for you to open your own business. So that gave me having that support mechanism gives you the faith and the confidence to step forward into that because into that world of entrepreneurship. Because as you know, it's not for the faint of heart out there. Being your own employee, it's harder work, more dedication. You need support all around you. And thankfully for me, I got a very supportive family who helps me do that.
Wow, that's so nice. I think that's beautiful because, you know, having that partner to kind of like give you that inspiration to versa, right? You're like a power team. You both have to help each other grow and become the best you can be. So I think that's really nice what your wife said. Like now it's the time. Like she saw it, she felt it, and we got to take note. And another thing that stood out too, when you said you didn't grow up with a father, I didn't grow up with a father too. I think that's why we clicked. We clicked right away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I could tell that because you're different and now you're there for your kids, giving them the best life, providing, showing, the way to do things. I feel like now you're breaking the curse because you could have repeat the same history, right, with your father, but you broke the
Yep.
curse by, you know what? I'm gonna be different. I wanna
Yep.
do what I didn't have when I was younger. And I love
Yep.
that. I love that.
Yep. No, I love how you said that because I always tell, whether it's young men I mentor or I go up to the detention center up here in Las Vegas to speak to the young men up there as well. And I always let them know we have choices in life, right? We can either choose to continue whether it's curse or the chains that were built by our history, whether it's our father, whether it's us making a mistake, right? Because even when we make a mistake, it's how do you not make the same mistake again? Even when we've seen our fathers make a mistake, is how do we not repeat the same mistakes he did, or even loved ones did? And so I made it a point to say, okay, although my father wasn't in my life, he taught me a lot. He taught me what not to do. So I just did everything opposite of what he did, and it didn't turn out too bad, right? So I still consider him my dad. I mean, I can't give him the credit of a father, but I can definitely still call him my dad. I've had to learn how to forgive him for that, but when I learned to forgive him, that allowed me to learn how to be a better person, a better father, a better husband, and just ultimately a better man. Just because I didn't want to make people feel the way he made me feel. So it made it, I guess he gave me a roadmap. I just followed it in terms of breaking the habits versus following the same habits.
Wow, that was deep. That was deep, brother. Oof, oof, oof. I got the chills. I got. But look, fam, I gotta tell you something. Can you, explain more to the fans about your vision you were telling me about the e-sport? You remember
Mhm.
that big thing
Yeah.
about if you could share, please spill the beans. If you brought the
Yeah.
cream, it's okay.
Yeah, no, I would say so. Yeah, I would say about a year ago. But actually, start back about 2 years ago. My son and my nephew was here at the house, and I noticed that they spent more time on the television. I thought they were playing a video game. They were actually watching a YouTuber play a video game. This is when Fortnite, I think, first came out. I know it's been out for a while, but I think it was either first came out. I don't know when it came out, but all I know is they were really into Fortnite, and they were watching these other gamers play. And I'm like, why are you guys watching these kids play? Why don't you just go upstairs and play yourself? And they were like, no, we're learning how to play. I'm like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. At least they're visual learners. So I went upstairs, I came back down, and all of a sudden, these two boys, about an hour and a half later, are still watching this kid play. I'm sitting there going, really, I think you guys learned a lot. Now it's time to go apply it. and they were just, you can just tell they were just engulfed in watching this kid play. And so I started doing some research afterwards, and I started to see how much China and Japan had invested into their esports, um, um, I, I guess professions. And then I started following a lot of these gaming tournaments, and then this television show Players came out, and so I started watching Players, and all of a sudden this craze around esports just started to hit me, and I'm thinking, okay, well, what are we doing here in the United States? So then obviously we have HyperX here in Las Vegas, which is a esports arena. And it's funny, I went there for a tournament, and there were more kids who qualified for that tournament from other countries than there were kids here in the United States, let alone there was no kid from Las Vegas. I'm thinking, well, what's the problem here? And then all of a sudden, this article came out in Forbes, and then another one came out in Goldman Sachs that talked about the rise of esports and how esports by the year 2027 is going to be $100 billion market cap business, and why it was on a rise and why this craze started to come. And then all of a sudden, I read this other article that talked about how now major universities are offering college scholarships to esports gamers. And now today, there's over 300 universities across the United States that are offering scholarship to professional gamers. So then I'm thinking, okay, why aren't we doing something here to help develop gamers? And so me and two other partners started talking about it. We met up with another group who formed. They did Code Ninjas across the United States. They sold Code Ninjas for a huge exit, and then used that same curriculum to integrate it into what they call today Valhallan. And so I met with those guys, loved their franchise model. I told them I wanted to, it's still a brand new franchise. I mean, as of today, we only have about 5 locations that are open, 20 that will open in the near future, and 10 of those locations are mine. And so once I saw the curriculum, once I saw what their beliefs were, their belief system mirrored mine in terms of helping develop young gamers into professional gamers. This allows us to bring. I mean, if you played sports, I played sports, and the one thing you've always played one thing you've always had when you played sports was the ability to connect and meet new friends. Those friends end up becoming families. They are your brothers at arms, right? They are the guys and even girls now that you walk side by side with in competition. But I noticed in esports here in the US, we really didn't have that. I mean, unless a gamer started his or her own team, they weren't going to have that locker room crew without finding other gamers. And so we all talked about building a model where we can not only educate, train, and build skills within gamers, but then also place them on teams and have them form and forge a team. I mean, I'm pretty sure when you played youth sports, you didn't get to pick your team. You signed up and they put you on a team. And those guys, those girls became your brothers and your sisters as you're competing out there. Well, that's the same philosophy we took here. I mean, if you want to be a gamer, great, but here's a team we're going to place you on, and these 5 or 6 other players we're going to surround you with. Now you can learn from, connect with. You can teach that person. They can teach you, and then all of a sudden you're forging a relationship. And so we end up building this curriculum out. We formed a business, Valhallan, and then our first location opens here in Las Vegas in September. And we are wildly excited about what this is going to be able to do, not only for the birth and growth of esports professional teams here in Las Vegas, but also helping the mass majority of our community learn how to become professional gamers. And it's not just becoming a professional gamer where you enter in tournaments, but you and I both have probably seen in some of these esports tournaments. I mean, you got these kids making millions of dollars, winning these championships, but then it's the money that comes afterwards. It's the sponsorships, the endorsements. And so we want to help them navigate those waters. We want to make certain they're making, with me having banking or financial services in my background, of course, I want to help them make, financially fiscal decisions. But at the same time, we want to teach them how to become YouTube sensations. We want to teach them how to become marketable brands. We want to teach them how to control their naming, imaging, and likeness. We want to help them with all those things so that way they can truly become that YouTube sensation, a gaming sensation, and a professional at the end of the day. And so, but I would tell you more than anything, what made me really want to do this is that watching during the pandemic, just a lot of kids battling mental health. And so as I was reading articles about esports and how kids are learning today here in the US, they were learning in their bedrooms by themselves for countless hours, not interacting or communicating with society. And to me, that was heartbreaking when you see gamers in, again, China, Japan, and now in the Saudi Arabia is doing the same thing. They bring these individuals they identified as professional gamers, they bring them into an incubator and they really connect them with other players. So that way they're not losing their social skills, not losing their ability to build relationships, they're not losing their ability to interact. So we are changing that trend here, where now we're bringing them into a social setting where they can meet other gamers, be on a team with other gamers. This will help them build relationship skills, build interactive skills, build communication skills. And to me, when you learn how to deal with others, that's what helps people break mental health. And so rather than having kids isolate themselves from the world where mental health can become an issue, we're looking to break that and allow kids to be around others, be around coaches, be around adults, be around other kids, be around other kids who are like them, to really help them feel comfortable and help them feel comfortable with who they are, because they're in a setting that connects to them personally. So it was the mental health play for me that said, okay, we need to do this, because more and more kids are going to need us as time goes on, especially when esports is only growing. It's not shrinking, it's only growing. And so with this growing, we either need to grow with it to prevent the mental health to become an issue. If we ignore it as it grows, we're just going to have more and more young gamers struggle with mental health. So we're looking to break those chains.
Oh, I love it, brother. I think what you said was amazing because, I know parents who have kids, same thing, like where their kids only spend time, all day after school playing video games, and they don't have a social life, and
Yeah.
it's a sad thing, you gotta have balance. You gotta be able to communicate, express yourself. There's I noticed that with language, they speak the kids that are gamers, they have a better way of interacting on, but when it's real life, they're like, I kind of lost myself. I don't know how to react. What do I say?
Mm-hmm.
They kind of forget the little social cues that you need to pay attention. But
Yeah.
I really admire what you said. I'm for it. I can't wait, man. September, that's huge. It's coming up. It's coming up. And well, fam, let me wrap it
Yeah.
up because looks like Zoom about to kick me out. But let me just say, guys, this is the Outlet to Reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Choo choo. And anyways, guys, don't forget to read my book, Shabbat in Chicago, on Amazon. Please check it out. And guys, you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the Outlet to Reality. My Snapchat is Take One Pass It, and my TikTok is at Yaakov28. And Morris, where can my fans find you?
Well, they can find me at legacyleaders.com. They can find me at Valhallan.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at Morris Jackson 3428. I'll be around. Or just follow Yaakov, and I'm gonna be following him. So just follow me through his channel.
I love it. I love it, brother.
Yeah.